Our keynote speaker, Dr. Uzzaman, and his venture capital mainly focus on the IT industry, health IT, AI, cloud, VR, AR, etc. And today he's going to talk about how Taiwan can be innovative again. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker, Dr. Anis Uzzaman.
Hello everyone. I'm Anis Uzzaman and I'm the CEO and General Partner at Fenox Venture Capital. This is a venture capital firm in Silicon Valley, and today I'm going to talk how Taiwanese corporations can be innovative. I want to show you some technologies from the Silicon Valley, and I also want to explain to you how Taiwan can be part of this innovation. Let's look at this logo. This is TSMC. Everybody in the world knows about this company. This made Taiwan one of the top semiconductor countries in the world, and TSMC still today is the #1 player in the world when it comes to semiconductor. But at the same time, if you see the news, it complains that Taiwan is not being innovative. Taiwan is struggling to become an innovation leader, and we're seeing a lot of news coming out like that. Even Forbes said how Taiwan can be back as the innovative leader once again. So let's talk about innovation. So as we're talking about innovation, the first thing I want to do, I wanted to show you what is happening around the world. I wanted to bring a piece of Silicon Valley for you today for InnoVEX. So let's see some of the technologies that you will be enjoying and embracing in 2020. Let's have a look. So everyone, I just showed you a piece of Silicon Valley. These are the innovations where we're investing in Silicon Valley. And most of the companies I showed you, I am a proud investor in all these companies. And many of them came from some of the top educational institutions like MIT and Stanford. I wanted to talk a little bit first about the US and Silicon Valley. I wanted to explain to you some of the secrets why US have done well in the innovation space. I wanted to show you 4 different components that have helped US become top leader in some of the areas where it has helped it to become one of the superpowers. The first place that has helped America with innovation is Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley has innovated for the last decade. It started innovation from the Second World War, and still today it has innovated trends and technologies that the whole world has embraced. The second place that helped US in the financial sector is the Wall Street. The Wall Street helped America to become the financial hub. In the areas of entertainment, Hollywood has helped America to prevail its #1 position. And the last but not least, the educational institutions, the top schools in the US have helped it to keep the leading position. Now, I wanted to talk about Silicon Valley, which has helped America to remain innovative. Why Silicon Valley is the center of innovation and how it has helped. There are 4 components that have helped Silicon Valley become the best ecosystem to build and grow your startup. The first thing is the abundance of mentors and advisors. In Silicon Valley, when you are opening up a startup and trying to grow it to the next level, it is easy to find mentors and advisors. The second thing, there is a lot of incubator and accelerator that have helped US and these startups to grow their company, to take an idea and grow the idea to the next level. The third component that has helped the ecosystem is the number of investors. There are angel investors and there are venture capital investors, like myself. There are thousands of these investors which have helped grow these companies. Even employees of Apple, Google, and Microsoft, they have come forward and helped these startups and ideas to grow as angel investors. And that is what have helped US ecosystem. The last component that has helped US and the Silicon Valley to keep its ecosystem healthy is the exit strategy and the opportunity of exit. Most of the companies in Asia, if I see, when they grow very big, they go through public listing, the public offering, they call it IPO. Whereas more than 90% of the US startups are going through an acquisition process. The large corporations are coming forward to buy these small corporations. So small corporations are also encouraged to grow the company and become attractive to large corporations. They do not need to wait for the IPO. And these 4 components have created a great ecosystem, and this ecosystem has helped Silicon Valley to keep running and keep innovating and give us some of the best startups in the world. Now, let's talk about some of these components. Y Combinator has helped Silicon Valley a lot. This is no doubt one of the top incubators in the world. Y Combinator, one of the things that make companies in Y Combinator successful is the network that they get once they become part of this Y Combinator program. Because once you graduate, you already have 800 companies who are ready to buy and use your service, who are graduates of Y Combinator. Also, some of the top people like Mark Zuckerberg himself, Marissa Mayer, Vice President Al Gore, they are the mentors in Y Combinator. Every 6 months, about 10,000 companies applying for a selected seat of 100. And that's the competition. If you can beat, most probably you are going to become one of the unicorns coming out and becoming one of the top startups. The second thing that I mentioned before, the opportunity to exit. The biggest problem that Asia is facing today, even if you grow a startup, the large corporations are not ready to work with you. They do not want to take the risk of working with a startup. So there are two types of exit opportunities. One, you have to go IPO, and there is non-IPO route where you get bought by large corporations. But we feel that in Taiwan, in Japan, in Asia, most of the large corporations are not ready to work with you, and that is creating the problem of the ecosystem. This is one of the components that have helped Silicon Valley to remain innovative, and if this thing comes to Asia as well, I'm sure that the Asian startup ecosystem will keep moving. Now, let's think about large US corporations, because today's theme, how Taiwanese corporations can become innovative. So let's see what some of the US corporations have done to remain innovative. The first example I'm going to give about Apple. Apple has always innovated through acquisition. Merger and acquisition was the key secret to Apple's innovation. They have bought so many companies and made them of their own. I'm sure that most of you are aware of Siri. Siri is not a product or a functionality that was developed by Apple themselves. This was a startup that was purchased by Apple, and they made it part of the iOS. Same way, if you look at their facial recognition technology, biometric sensor, or even the mapping technology that Apple has in their phones, these are all different startups that Apple purchased to make it on their own, of their own. So Apple has innovated through the merger and acquisition technique. Let's look at some other corporations. For example, let's look at Facebook. Facebook has always done hackathon. Hackathon is a fun event where all the programmers have come together and they were allowed to do something funny outside of their regular work that can be creative enough for the company. I'm sure that all of you are very familiar with the like button when you use Facebook. That like button was developed in one of these hackathons. It was not developed during the regular work hours that Facebook asked them to work on. So this is how Facebook has remained innovative through multiple hackathons every year. Let's look at some other companies. Google. Google has a special work rule called 20% rule. In this 20% rule in Google, you are allowed to work anything you want to work on outside of your regular work 20% of the time. So if you're working 40 hours a week, you're allowed to work 8 hours on things that you want to work on. Using this 20% time rule, there are top functionalities like Gmail or Google News or Google Talk. All these functionalities came out during this 20% time. And Gmail is a huge functionality that is used, I'm sure, by most of you. And it came out not from the regular work hours, rather it came out of the 20% rule work hour that was designed by Google. So this is how Google has remained innovative. Let's talk about another technique. Innovation through trend adoption. The global trend, what is happening around the world. I personally, when I graduated from school, started working for IBM. It's a very old company, 100+ years old company. And even in old companies like IBM, they are always trying their hard to embrace the new top trends. IoT, artificial intelligence, social robot, health IT, virtual and augmented reality, and FinTech are some of the top trends of the world, and many corporations have worked to adopt this technology and make it part of their programs. Innovation through new process adoption is another thing that most of the US corporations have followed. I'm sure you have heard about lean startup model. Lean startup model is a concept of product development. In most of the US corporations, like say Apple or Dropbox, they have used this process when they developed any new product or functionality. What is this lean startup model? The lean startup model says if you have an idea, convert that into a product or a prototype as soon as possible, and then go to the market and see the customer response. Based on the customer response, please go back to the drawing table and redo the product and relaunch. So it says that do things fast, take the consumer feedback, and go back and redo the things. This is a process that large corporations like Apple also followed big time. And as a result, they have been able to remain competitive and beat their competition in product to market. They beat everyone in timing. Let's go back and talk about diversity. Facebook has remained very diverse, not about only race, but they have been very diverse when they have hired new employees. So this is a 16-year-old kid who came out of high school, got employed by Mark Zuckerberg in Facebook. That tells you that they did not care if he has a college degree or something. I mean, all they care is someone who can come in and join the team and produce the product that they are looking for. So diversity has become another weak technique how some of these US corporations have remained innovative. So let's talk about Taiwan. What Taiwan can do to become innovative once again. The first thing that I will suggest is, the first solution is import prototyping business. And I'm sure that many of you are from Taiwan. So Taiwan has engineering power. I mean, many of you have graduated from top schools around the world. And Taiwan is also having the expertise in manufacturing. If you put your educational background with your manufacturing experience, I think what Taiwan can do is Taiwan can do a great job with prototyping. I'm sure that many of those works are going to China directly, and Taiwan could be the one who could get those business. Now, what kind of prototyping we are talking about? At the very beginning, I show you a video. If you look at this screen, you can see that we're talking about IoT device. I showed this device at the very beginning of my video. It's an agricultural IoT. I'm talking about virtual and augmented reality. I'm talking about IoT. I am talking about devices in the health IT sector. And all these devices are being developed in Silicon Valley, Israel, and many other countries. Taiwan could be part of this business if Taiwan could do a good job of bringing this prototyping business to Taiwan. And Taiwan has not been able to do that. So I'm going to give you a suggestion how Taiwan can do that. For example, we can become a partner. Venture capitals, consultants, and many other organizations like say incubators or accelerators can become partners of Taiwan, and because we venture capital see thousands of deals in a year, we could introduce some of those companies to the Taiwanese counterpart, and Taiwan could bring these companies back to this country and could do the prototyping. Not only Fenox, my company, but many other companies who have access to these companies, they could have introduced Taiwan as one of the places where people could have done the best prototyping. And Taiwan should have realized it, and Taiwan should do it maybe from now on to make sure that all those technologies, they come to Taiwan before going anywhere else. The third thing I want to suggest to the Taiwanese people is let's develop an ecosystem which will be similar to what we have experienced in Silicon Valley. I'm sure that you have today mentors and advisors. I'm sure you have incubators and accelerators. I'm sure that you have some investors as well, maybe not enough that you need. But one thing that most probably Taiwan is missing big time is the opportunity to see the final path, which is the exit opportunity. It's very difficult to exit most probably in this country. So for that, you can do a few things. First, I want the large corporations in Taiwan to open up your mind and start working with these startups who has great technologies. That is the first thing that you can do. If you are a startup in Taiwan, the other thing you can do is start fundraising from global venture capitalists. They will hook you up with large corporations from around the world, not only from Taiwan, but also from outside. So you have the opportunity to see an M&A or an exit in the global market rather than from the Taiwanese domestic market. So that's what you can do. So on these four components, the government and everyone come together and put together this ecosystem. I'm sure there will be many startups who will be encouraged to open up a startup. I'm sure the large corporations will see the benefit of innovations from very young innovators and entrepreneurs in Taiwan. The other potential solutions that Taiwan can have is, first of all, Taiwanese corporations can start doing hackathons like Facebook does. They can also, when they're developing a new functionality, they can also follow the lean startup model. They can also create 20% rule like Google did. And obviously, I want Taiwanese corporations to also look deeply into diversity, because diversity makes you innovative and you cannot ignore that. So that's kind of my summary, that I want Taiwan to become the prototyping hub and become the #1 prototyping hub, because not many people can do prototyping. You need the engineering knowledge and you need manufacturing experience, and Taiwan has both. And it is a waste of your time and energy not to become the prototyping hub of the world. I have written a book called Startup Bible. It took me 2 years to write this book. It has been all over the world. I have sold millions of copies of this book. It took me 2 years to write it. It will take you 20 minutes. So please read the book. It gives you a lot of examples from a lot of countries. By the way, I myself have invested into more than 70 companies, more than $100 million, and invested across 14 different countries. So if you have a great startup, please come and talk to me. So before I quit, I also wanted to give you another example. To make you competitive and take you to the next level, I'm going to announce another thing. Fenox, we are working in 14 different countries, and we thought it would be great to put together a startup World Cup. This is the first World Cup in the world, and the finale is going to be next year, March, in San Francisco. We are going to give away $1 million in investment to the champion, to the world champion. There will be 11 different regionals, and you are very lucky that there will be a World Cup regional in Taiwan, in Taiwan City. And you're very lucky, because in Asia, we'll do it in India, Indonesia, Japan, Taiwan, China. In Europe, we're going to do it in Germany, Israel, and in the US, we're going to do it in Chile, Boston, San Francisco. The finale is going to be next year. I want all of you, all Taiwanese startups, to apply and become a winner as the world champion and win this $1 million. Please go to startupworldcup.co to check the details. It's going to come up very soon. Finally, here is my website and my Facebook and Twitter. Become my friend and let me know if you have a great startup I'll be more than happy to look into it, and you can become a global company. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Uzzaman. Thank you very much. That was an insightful speech.